What you're about to witness is the most disrespectful, most shocking, and quite frankly, the most infuriating moment in WWE history this year. And I'm not exaggerating. Paul Heyman, the Wiseman, the special counsel to the tribal chief, the man who has been the architect of wrestling's greatest storylines for 3 decades, was just humiliated, disrespected, and fired live on stage by Nick Aldis. Yes, that Nick Aldis, the SmackDown General Manager who's been in WWE for 5 minutes? And here's what's making my blood boil and what should be making your blood boil too. This wasn't a storyline angle done with class. This wasn't a respectful send-off for a legend. This was a public execution designed to embarrass one of the most brilliant minds in professional wrestling history. And if you're not angry about this yet, just wait. Because by the end of this video, you're going to understand why this moment represents everything that's wrong with how WWE treats its legends. Stick around because we're diving deep into this absolute travesty, and I guarantee you'll have thoughts, strong thoughts, the kind of thoughts that need to be shared in the comments below. Let me set the stage for you. SmackDown, the Blue brand, the show that Paul Heyman helped make relevant again through his work with Roman Reigns and the Bloodline storyline. The very show that benefited from Heyman's genius for years is now the same show where he was publicly humiliated. Nick Aldis, the general manager of SmackDown, calls Paul Heyman out to the ring. Now, if you know anything about Paul Heyman, you know the man doesn't walk, he commands presence. He strides to that ring like the veteran he is, microphone in hand, probably thinking this is just another segment, another opportunity to showcase his legendary mic skills. But what happens next is where this entire situation goes from bad to absolutely inexcusable. Aldis doesn't ease into it. He doesn't show respect. He doesn't acknowledge Heyman's contributions to the business. No, he goes straight for the jugular. In front of thousands of live fans and millions watching around the world, Aldis tells Paul Heyman that his services are no longer required, that he's being relieved of his duties, that WWE is moving in a different direction. Different direction? Different direction? Let me tell you something about directions. Paul Heyman has been the direction for 30 years. This is the man who gave you the original ECW. This is the man who managed Brock Lesnar to legendary status. This is the man who turned Roman Reigns from someone the fans rejected into the most dominant champion in modern WWE history. And this is how he's treated? But here's where it gets even worse. The disrespect doesn't end with the firing itself. It's how it happened. Paul Heyman, ever the professional, tries to respond. He tries to address Aldis, to perhaps negotiate, to use that silver tongue that's gotten him out of every impossible situation for 3 decades. And Aldis, he cuts him off. He talks over him. He dismisses him like Heyman is some entry-level staff member who messed up a coffee order. The camera zooms in on Heyman's face, and if you were watching closely, you could see it. The hurt, the shock, the absolute disbelief that after everything he's given to this business, this is his moment. Not a Hall of Fame send-off, not a respectful storyline conclusion, but a public firing orchestrated by someone who hasn't accomplished a fraction of what Heyman has accomplished in this industry. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. It's a work. It's all storyline. Calm down. And you know what? Maybe it is. Maybe this is leading somewhere. But that's not the point. The point is that even in storyline, there's a way to do things. There's a way to respect legends while still moving your narrative forward. And this wasn't it. Think about the message this sends. It tells every veteran in that locker room that no matter what you've done, no matter how much you've contributed, you can be humiliated and discarded at a moment's notice. It tells the younger talent that loyalty means nothing. And it tells the fans that the people we've invested in, the people we've followed for years, can be disrespected for the sake of cheap heat. And let's talk about Nick Aldis for a moment, because this is important. I have nothing against the man personally. He had a solid career in the independents and Impact Wrestling. But let's be honest about something. Nick Aldis as a general manager firing Paul Heyman is like a substitute teacher trying to discipline the principal. The optics are all wrong. Heyman has been a cornerstone of WWE programming for years. He's elevated every single person he's worked with. CM Punk, Cesaro, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, the list goes on and on. These aren't just names. These are careers that were transformed because of Paul Heyman's involvement. And now we're supposed to accept that someone who was brought in as an authority figure less than 2 years ago has the power to publicly fire him? It doesn't make sense from a storyline perspective, and it certainly doesn't make sense from a respect perspective. Here's another thing that's bothering me, and I want you to think about this carefully. Wrestling has always been about larger-than-life characters and dramatic moments, but there's a difference between drama and degradation. When Stone Cold Steve Austin stunned his boss, it was rebellion, it was anti-authority, it was empowering. When McMahon fired people, he was the villain you love to hate, and the person being fired often got the last laugh or a moment of triumph. But what happened to Paul Heyman? There was no triumph. There was no moment of empowerment. There was just a man who's given his life to this business being told he's no longer wanted and being told in the most disrespectful way possible. Where's the payoff? Where's the respect? Where's the acknowledgement of legacy? And this is where WWE has been getting it wrong lately. They've been so focused on shock value, on social media moments, on creating viral clips, that they've forgotten about the emotional investment fans have in these characters. We don't just watch wrestling for the spots and the surprises. We watch because we care about the people involved. And when you disrespect someone we care about, especially someone like Paul Heyman, you're not just disrespecting him, you're disrespecting us, the fans who've supported him for decades. Let me paint you an alternative scenario, one that could have achieved the same narrative goal without the disrespect. Aldis could have called Heyman to the ring, acknowledged his contributions, thanked him for his service, and then delivered the news that WWE was moving in a different direction. Heyman could have had a moment to respond, to give one final epic promo, to leave us with something memorable. That would have been how you handle a legend. That would have been storytelling with respect. But instead, we got what felt like a genuine attempt to humiliate someone who's forgotten more about this business than most people will ever know. And whether it's storyline or real, whether it's leading to something bigger or not, the damage is done. Because in that moment, Paul Heyman looked diminished, and a diminished Paul Heyman diminishes the entire industry. Now, I want to address something else because I know the WWE defenders are going to say, this is going to lead to Heyman managing someone new, or this is setting up a huge return. And maybe you're right. Maybe in 3 months we'll look back on this moment as the beginning of something incredible. But here's my question to you. Why does it have to be this way? Why does respecting legends have to be mutually exclusive with creating compelling television? The truth is, it doesn't. You can do both. You can create shocking moments without diminishing the people involved. You can tell dramatic stories without disrespecting legacy. And the fact that WWE chose this route tells me they've lost sight of what made wrestling special in the first place. The understanding that these aren't just characters. They're people we've invested years of our lives in following. So where does this leave us? Where does this leave Paul Heyman? And more importantly, where does this leave WWE's credibility when it comes to treating their legends with respect? I'll tell you where it leaves us. It leaves us angry. It leaves us disappointed. And it leaves us demanding better. Because Paul Heyman deserves better. The fans deserve better. And quite frankly, wrestling as an industry deserves better. Whether this is a work or a shoot, whether it's leading somewhere or it's just a dead-end story decision, the fact remains, what we witnessed was uncomfortable, disrespectful, and unnecessary. And if WWE thinks this is the kind of content that's going to keep viewers engaged long-term, they're sorely mistaken. But here's where you come in. I want to know what you think. Are you as angry about this as I am? Do you think there was a better way to handle this situation? Do you believe this is leading somewhere, or is this just another example of WWE dropping the ball when it comes to respecting their legends? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now, and I mean right now, because this is the kind of topic that demands conversation. This is the kind of moment that we as a wrestling community need to discuss and dissect. If you're angry, tell me why. If you disagree with me, tell me why. If you think I'm missing something, enlighten me. Because at the end of the day, we're all here because we love this business, and we want to see it done right. And listen, if you enjoyed this video, if you appreciated the passion and the analysis, then smash that like button. Hit it hard. Show WWE and show YouTube that content like this matters, that holding companies accountable matters, that respecting legends matters. And if you're not already subscribed to WrestleScope, what are you waiting for? This is where we keep it real. This is where we don't sugarcoat things. This is where we call it like we see it, whether WWE likes it or not. So subscribe, hit that notification bell, and join a community that actually cares about the integrity of professional wrestling. Share this video, send it to your wrestling friends, post it on social media, because the more people who see this, the more people who speak up, the better chance we have of seeing change. Paul Heyman gave us decades of incredible moments. The least we can do is speak up when he's disrespected. This has been WrestleScope, and I'll catch up and I'll catch you. Stay passionate, stay vocal, and never stop demanding better from the companies we support.